All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we are jam-packed with hotline calls, LPDS updates, the whole nine. Plus, of course, Cage Fact. I'm looking at you, camera. All that goodness is coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, the show that talks about nothing but finds the lessons in everything, and we try to have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. We're finally starting to get some hotline calls on a little bit more of a quality frequency. If you want to call the hotline in the future and you keep forgetting, that's okay. We have the hotline number in the descriptions of all the podcast episodes on YouTube, Apple's, and Spotify's. So it's in there for you. And also, if you're listening to and you have the ability to write it down, 202 670 1114. 202 670 1114. That's for all you savages out there listening to this on 2-speed. You know who you are. But keep calling the hotline. It makes my job so much it's not really a job, but it makes this so much more fun and entertaining. And it's a good thought exercise when I hear a call. I don't know I don't know what people are going to say, and then it's on me to figure out a way to respond in a way that's not going to have you guys, turn the episode off and unsubscribe. So it's fun stuff for me. So keep calling that in. We got 3 hotline calls in the Junction we're going to get to, but I have a bunch of LPDS updates and stuff we got to talk about, and a voicemail that I'm going to try to figure out if it is clear in the episode. It's not a hotline voicemail. It came to my phone, and I sent the file to my computer, so I'm going to try to play it. We'll see how it actually turns out. Also, too, I forgot to charge the battery on my camera for long enough, so um, it's a race against time now, folks. Obviously, if the battery dies, I'm just gonna charge it, come back, and if I didn't say anything, you would have never known. But I try to be honest and open and transparent and practice what I preach. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm letting you know. If there's a weird cutoff in the episode, it's because my battery died and I'm a jabroni, and that's fine too. We live and learn. And what's that saying? Live, learn, get loves? I don't know. Anyway, what do we got on tap today? This is sort of like bittersweet, sad, kind of happy news. Not really happy news, but in the Yankees world, radio broadcaster John Sterling has announced his retirement. And if you're a Yankees fan out there, or really just a baseball fan, you know who John Sterling is. He's been the voice of the Yankees for my entire conscious life being a Yankee fan. I do vaguely remember Phil Rizzuto broadcasting some games. I think maybe Derek Jeter's rookie year, Phil Rizzuto was still broadcasting games on the radio. But John Sterling quickly took over, and he was the guy. It was him and Michael Kay in the booth for years. And then when the Yankees created the Yes Network, Michael Kay went over to do that, so to be the television broadcaster, the lead broadcaster, and Sterling stayed on the radio. It was 770, and then it became, I think, WFAN after that. And him and Susan Waldman have been doing it ever since, basically. And He was the old school radio broadcaster, a hometown broadcaster, like a real homer. Loved the Yankees. That's all he ever wanted to do. Was his dream job to be the guy for the Yankees, to be calling Yankee games. And after a stint calling games for the Braves a little bit, and then he did some other New York sports teams, hockey and basketball, I think, and then he eventually got the call up to the big show. And he's just the old school type, totally dedicated to the job. He had the famous sayings for home run calls. Whenever, each different person on the Yankees hit a home run, he had a custom home run call and chant for that person. And even in this later years, as he got a little kooky and it was more difficult for him to pay attention to games and be able to guess what balls are going to be home runs and stuff, it was still great to listen to. Because even if he messed up a home run call and it wasn't a home run, it was an out, he made it funny. And he made it fun. It was great, entertaining. He got clocked in the head with a foul ball last year that went behind home plate and up into the radio booth and clocked him. And he just kept rolling. He said the most human thing that anybody would have said or anyone would have thought to say. Usually people, when they get hit and they're in public, they try to, subdue their feelings and emotions to act tough and shake it off. And he just let out exactly what everybody else would have done or would have wanted to do. And he just gets clocked in the head by a pretty hard foul ball. Now, anybody a little bit younger and more spry would have been able to avoid it. It wasn't 200-mile-an-hour foul ball. But he's an older guy. He's in his 80s. And he got clocked, and he just goes, "Ow, that really hit me." Oh, man. Exactly what you were thinking. You get hit in the head with a baseball, and that's it. Ow. And he just had no shame. He just lived and breathed the Yankees. And now he's going off into retirement to be happy with his family and relaxing and watching the games now on TV and listening to the broadcasts and being able to relax a little bit finally. So congratulations on an incredible career. He'll be sorely missed. He will be sorely missed. So thank you, John Sterling. Now moving on. I got a little bit of an update. I think it's an update on the cross-dressing black fella that was trying to identify, where I live. If you don't know what I'm talking about, several episodes ago, I talked about this black fella who was wearing, a wig and women's clothing, and we exchanged greetings crossing paths on the sidewalk, and it seemed like he took a liking to me. And then I saw him again, and it seemed like he took a real liking to me by trying to identify where I lived, where I was walking to. Well, it looks like I saw him again on my street. I would find it hard to believe that there is another cross-dressing black fella in my neighborhood that also has the same frame as this guy did. This time he was with a Hispanic gentleman. I don't know Mexican, Spanish, Colombians. I don't know. He was a Hispanic fella. And they were walking down my street while I was driving away somewhere. And as I'm driving away, the Hispanic fella stops at my neighbor's house across the street and sees a package on the front porch, runs over and swipes the package. Middle of broad daylight on the weekend. And I had to go somewhere. So I contacted my neighbor, let them know. The porch pirates bolted, and so did the cross-dresser, and they took off for the apartment complex across the street. So now if it is in fact the same cross-dressing fella as before, now he's just aiding and abetting porch piracy from this other fella. And they live across the street practically. It's down the street and at the T section across the street, the apartment complex. That's where they live. So they're not even going to different neighborhoods to protect themselves. They're just doing it brazenly in broad daylight. The neighbor said they got it all on camera and they're going to try to, work with the police to take care of it or whatever. But they don't even care anymore. And now I have to be ready to defend myself from on my own property because I know this guy is probably going to take a super liking to me. I don't know if you guys heard that beeping. I can't. Listen, I have my text messages hopped up on my computer because of this voicemail that I sent to myself so I can play it for you guys here in a second. And I also have to have my computer volume on. So I apologize in advance if I get any more notifications or text messages and you hear the ding sound. It's not because I'm looking and texting while I'm LPDSing. It's because I'm trying to do this for you and can't have both. Can't have both right now. Can't have silent phone and voicemail ready to rock and roll. So I apologize for that. But that being said, I am now ready to protect my property and myself from this guy and his hoodlum buddies, especially if I continue to reject his passes at me. So stay tuned for that. I'm getting Randy primed and ready for the fight. I'm currently purchasing a bottle of perfume that is the same type that my mother uses, Crazy Carol, so that I can spray it on the perpetrators as they enter my property, and then I know Randy will go after them because one of his favorite pastimes is protecting me from my mother, Crazy Carol, when we're at the house up there in the motherland in Jersey, and making sure that she knows that she's not getting to me. So it's very funny. I don't like that he does that to family members, but it's a little funny that it's the only person he does it to is my mother. Anyway, that's the update on the cross-dressing fella for now. The place I was going to, as we continue on the LPDS current events universe, I was going to the conference I discussed in a previous episode, going to see it was actually last week's episode. So 208, episode 208, I think it's called, Tomatoes, Hotlines, and Hot Takes. I was going to see my friend speak. She is an amputee. How you doing? And she was speaking at this event, and it ended up being a Wall Women's Conference. And at the time I recorded that episode, it was before the conference, and we didn't know if I was going to be the only guy there, if there was going to be a mix and mingling, and how it was all going to play out. Well, I was the only guy there. Check that. There was one other guy, and he's only sort of counts because the only reason he was there is because he's got a coworker that she goes to all these events they work for the city, and he goes to all the events with her on, as a team. So she signed up for the event, and he tagged along with her, and he was the only other person there. The only other men there were employees of the hotel where we had the conference, and photographers for the event that were hired for the event, a couple of like college kids. That's it. There were over 100 women there and me. And I couldn't even hide anything about it because I had a beard, bald head, suit, guy sitting right in the smack dab in the middle. The lady who runs the organization that held this event put up a Instagram reel that she had everybody, cheering and clapping and stuff for this reel. And I'll try to get it into the episode on YouTube so that you guys can see it. It might be tough because it was kind of zoomed out. It's tough to see, but I'll try to zoom in appropriately so that you can see everybody's cheering and waving, and all of a sudden you see just in the middle my bald head just like waving and having a grand old time. And that's exactly what I did. I had a grand old time. It was a tremendous event. There was a bunch of panel speakers that came on and told their stories of business owners, entrepreneurs, all this stuff, talk about their hardships and, cancer survivors and domestic abuse survivors and car accident survivors, all dealing with their hardships and overcoming it. It was a great event. Did a lot of networking for Spearhead, talked to a lot of women, exchanged business cards, made some new friends. It was really a fun event. And they made me feel so welcome in the community there because I was the only guy there, and they could have very easily just shunned me out of because I was the only guy, but they didn't, and it was really great. There was only one woman that had some sort of attitude that thought that I shouldn't have been there, and she was quickly dismissed, not dismissed, like kicked out of the place, but you could tell the other women that we were networking with in the group did not feel the same way as that one woman who, I don't know, maybe she thought I was stealing her thunder. I don't know how. She was like 6'3" with heels on. She was the thunder. And I'm just a little guy with a bald head and a big nose, sweating because I was nervous being the only guy, and I didn't want to make people feel uncomfortable. So in the beginning, I was sweating it up a little bit, uh, and she had a problem with me, maybe because of the sweating. I don't know, but otherwise, great event. I was very happy I went, and I'm excited to keep in touch with these people and go to future events. It was just a good time, and it was again they were so welcoming. It was great. Moving on to the last update. I don't know how long I've been talking here, but I have another London Boy update. Now, again, if you're not tracking, go back a couple episodes, maybe 207, and I talk about the legend of London Boy, who is one of my neighbors. And go listen to the story. And one of the things I remember specifically saying was that I know people are not going to believe he's real, but I am not making this stuff up. This is a real guy that I'm having real interactions with. And then I get a voicemail from him this week, and I thought to myself, perfect. This will this voicemail will be exactly what I need to prove to the people of the Junction that this guy's real. And I'm not making this up. I'm going to play the voicemail. Hopefully it comes through. If it doesn't come through in post, what I'll do is I'll add the audio on top so you'll be able to hear it regardless of whether I can hear it or not. I've heard it a dozen times, even more. You're going to listen to this voicemail, okay? And you're still going to have a very valid argument against whether or not this guy is real. And there's nothing I could do about it. I wish he provided better evidence to suggest he's a real human being, but I just can't say that he did just yet. And I'm certainly not in any position to safely take pics of this fella. And I wouldn't post pics and put him on blast like that to begin with. If he's listening, London Boy, listen, I'm sorry. Okay. I have nothing against you. I think you're a great guy. I empathize with your situation. I hope there is a way I can help you. I can't do it financially, but I hope there's a way I can help you in some other method or form. And I don't have any negative feelings towards you, but I can't not talk about you as a quality character of the LPDS universe. I just can't. Okay. And I know the Jabroni Junction, everybody out there loves you. There's no hate, there's no negativity out there. But if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I can't not bring you up and introduce you to the universe. I just can't do it. That being said, let's listen to the call I got early Monday morning, I want to say. First, work day. I was still in bed, actually. It was before any of my morning work calls, even, or before I was making breakfast or feeding the dog. I was in bed, and I get this voicemail.
Hi, John. I got a question. Do you have any extra money I can borrow, my mate? Okay, you call me. Okay, buddy. Thanks. Bye-bye.
I'm going to play this one more time. I'm going to play it at a slower speed.
Hi, John. I got a question. Do you have any extra money I can borrow my mate? Okay, you call me, okay, buddy? Thanks. Bye bye.
That was the voicemail. Now I played it a second time at a slower speed so that you can hopefully decipher what he was saying. And I'll do the translation for you as well. He said, "Hey John, quick question for you. Do you have any extra money? Let me know. Thanks, buddy. Bye. Do you have any extra money, mate? Thanks, buddy. Bye." Now, again, initially I see a voicemail pop up on my phone. Great. I'm gonna have proof of life that I'm not just making this stuff up, and everybody's gonna be able to see that. And then I hear this message, and the tone and the robotic uh pace and everything about it, the the right to the point, the bluntness of it all, like, "Hey, how you doing? I got, I still need help with this and that. I was wondering if you had any money that you can lend me, blah blah blah." No, it was no nonsense. It was as Creature told me this, and he put this in my brain, and he couldn't be more right. It reminded me, and reminded him of in the TV show The Office, in the episode where Michael Scott is using the little computer robotic guy, where you type in the sentence you want to say, and the robot says it, and he's like, "Me love you, long dim. See you around the off hive." Some stuff like that. That's what it kind of sounded like. It was robotic, blunt. Quick question: do you have any extra money, mate? Okay, let me know. Thanks, buddy. And I don't know. I don't know what to do now to prove to you that he's real. I thought this was going to be it. But if we're in a court of law, there's still reasonable doubt. Okay? No jury would have convicted based off of this evidence alone, and my testimony. And I get that. So I'm trying real hard to maintain a relationship with London Boy, so that he's not going to put me on his lipstick hit list or anything, but also to prove life, to prove that he's a real person and a real neighbor, and none of this is scripted or a bit or made up or anything for everybody here in the LPDS universe. I'll find a way. Don't worry. I haven't figured it out yet. I thought this was it. I really did. I saw the voicemail and I was like, damn it, we got him. We got him. Now nobody's gonna doubt me. Nobody. And here we are. And I'm still doubting myself that it's real. But London Boy still needs money, the poor bastard. Trying to help him find a part-time job within walking distance to be able to do, but there are some extenuating circumstances that I that don't really lend itself to a quality work situation for him. He needs a particular type of work environment, I believe. This is just my assessment. And I don't think he would get that working at a Popeyes or something like that. We're going to figure it out, though. Okay. What I don't have, unfortunately, is spare money, extra money. I don't have any money. My money is tapped out. I get a paycheck, and that paycheck gets immediately dispersed out to loans and bills and mortgages and payments and what have yous. Gone. And Randy's killing me with his food bill because he's got a delicate stomach, and he'll eat anything, but also throw up everything. So I'm sorry, I don't have extra money for the big man, London Boy, and I'll figure out a way to prove that he's real. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna figure it out for you guys. Don't worry. With that, those are all the updates I got. We'll get into the hotline calls over in the Junction now. But first, we'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by Hans Hassenpfeffer and Eggs. Have you been eating eggs for breakfast, but have suddenly thought to yourself, you know what? I could really use a good German rabbit stew to make this a really great breakfast. Then get yourself some of Hans Hassenpfeffer and Eggs today. Hans uses a family recipe and family rabbit to cook up the most delicious Hassenpfeffer on this side of the Berlin Wall. So to get your Hassenpfeffer and Eggs today, visit www.there'sahairinmystew.com and use the promo code Happy Easter for 29% off. I'm sure not a lot of you have eaten rabbit before. I'm sure to a lot of you, the thought of eating a rabbit sounds inhumane and despicable. But let me tell you something, folks. Rabbit's delicious. It's a little bit on the bony side. A lot of little bones in there to pick from. But it is like, I can't describe. It's sort of like a tender, delicious chicken. Now, I love chicken and poultry, but it's a little bit more tender and succulent and just melts in your mouth kind of chicken almost. It's really good. We used to eat it on Easter. We don't do it so much anymore because my grandmother, Big Margaret, she rests in power, is not around to make it anymore. But rabbit is delicious. And another thing that you're probably not going to like, probably disagree with, I bet you it goes really good with some eggs. Have you ever eaten eggs with some sort of a protein, like a meat, ham and eggs, bacon and eggs? I've had shredded chicken and eggs before. Rabbit and eggs sounds pretty damn good. So anyway, the Cage fact. I was reading some reviews on his latest movie, The Arcadian, the sort of apocalyptic style movie. It's seemingly kind of like The Quiet Place with Jim Halpert, John Krasinski. Just a slightly different storyline to that. And the best review I've read so far, first of all, they said the movie's pretty solid overall. But the best review I read so far, I don't know if I still have the lady's name up who wrote the article, because I want to give her some props here. Tasha Robinson. And this is on Polygon.com. I don't know if that's a magazine or periodical or they just took her blog or whatever and posted it on here. But Tasha Robinson said that she goes into to describe the movie, the plot, the storyline, and her headline of the review, Arcadian, the bloody sci-fi horror movie, needs more Nic Cage. And this is a movie starring Nic Cage. So when somebody is out there saying, I need more Cage, sounds like me. It sounds like Tasha and I would become best friends. And it sounds like I might have a bone to pick with this movie once I watch it, because if Tasha's saying it, we know I'm going to probably say it as well and feel the same way. But she did give it a good review otherwise. Decent storyline, decent plot, good acting and characters. The only thing is she said, especially at the end during fight scenes and stuff, she wanted more crazy Cage. And she actually goes on to describe the two types of Nic Cage you get in movies. And actually, I don't know if she listens to the show or not, but we've discussed a similar topic before a long time ago, years ago, about how Nic Cage he's one of a kind, but he has two uniquely different sort of Nic Cages that you're going to get in depending on what movie he's in. And then they're very different from what you get from other actors. which makes him the greatest. So that's the Cage fact. We're going to go see Arcadian. We're going to go see what Tasha was talking about. And then maybe I'll write to Tasha and be like, hey, you were spot on. Or, hey, there's a pretty good amount of Cage in there. Or, yeah, I need more Cage. Whatever. We'll figure it out. We'll get in touch with Tasha. Maybe we'll have her on the show to talk Cage. I don't know if she likes Nic Cage or not, but she certainly liked it enough to go review him. So that's the Cage fact. Moving on over to the Junction. We'll spin the logo up. We got hotline calls. I have not heard these. I've seen a little bit of the transcripts of them, so I know that for the most part they're not terrible as far as professionalism and nothing that's going to get us canceled. Not that anybody listens to this. So we'll get right into it. We'll play the first call.
John, love your answer about soup. The question that I have now goes out to the salad constitute a meal because it's on the same place on the menu, right? It's always soups and salads. It's never like salad in a subsection for soup. So, although to be honest, I don't think salad constitutes a full meal. Stay strong.
All right. Thanks for the call there. Listen, this guy clearly wishes to remain anonymous because he hasn't given out his name in these calls. That's fine. I know who it is. I don't think about soups and salads. Okay. My brain is a little bit busier with other stuff. What I don't know is why your brain isn't busier with other stuff. You have a family. You have a successful family, a quality job that keeps you busy. What are you doing with your mental, with all that extra time on your hands? I don't know. How do you have extra time? You got kids and a full-time job and a stressful work environment. How do you have time to think about soups and salads? Not to mention the fact that these shower thoughts, I guess you could call them, have been discussed ad nauseum since Seinfeld did it in the late 90s. So you're a little bit behind the times. Now, what I will say about salad, as I think about it right now, if salad has a protein in it, I'll eat it as a meal. Cobb salad, grilled chicken, chicken Caesar salad, chef salad, I'll eat that as a meal. Any other salad, side. It's a side. I'll eat it before the entree because it expands the stomach. I do like salads, but it expands the stomach. It gets me ready to take down my entree. Salads are sides unless they have enough protein in them, not bacon bits, not just a couple of slices of a boiled egg, hard-boiled egg. It's got to be a full chicken breast chopped up or a full chef salad with diced ham and what have yous. Then it could be a meal. No protein, no meal. It's a side. Now, advice for you, my friend. I love you. I want to keep the calls coming. You got to stop thinking about salads. You have a very quality brain in between your stinking ears. Okay? Go think about how you can, I don't know, help your kids out, swing the bat better, learn a different hobby, make some arts and crafts for your wife or something. Yet you shouldn't have this much time in your life to contemplate whether soup or salads are meals. There's just not. You shouldn't have. You're an adult. You should not have enough time for that stuff. Okay, and if you do, you either have incredible time maximization skills, or you have incredible procrastination skills, and you're not doing any of the shit you're supposed to be doing. And I don't think that's the case because I know you. You're a pretty damn quality individual. You got to get salads and soups off the brain. You got to do it. We're no more. There's there and don't even think like don't ask about cornbreads or baked beans. Folks, I don't know what just happened. There was a video cut and it wasn't a dead battery situation. I just completely disconnected from this recording and internet access altogether. So I apologize for that. I'm still trying to figure it out. What the heck happened? Big Soup or Big Salad must have been hearing me ranting about it to stop thinking about them and they got mad or something. I don't know. But regardless, I don't want to hear before. I remember what I was talking about, fella. I don't want to hear any other hypotheticals about side meals or snacks or anything like that. Okay? Go spend time with your family. Okay? Go hit a round of golf. Go play video games. Go do something besides thinking about soups and salads. They're not that good. Okay? They're not that good. I would actually rather talk about different types of baked beans and recipes for that you could throw beans in than talk about soups and salads. They're just there for me. Okay? They're just there. And I don't spend any time thinking about it. In fact, I have a head of lettuce that I got from a relative and from their garden that the only reason I ate it is because they gave it to me and it was fresh, real lettuce and not store bought. So who knows where you get it from the grocery store. And I just ate it straight up plain because I wanted to eat good garden homemade salad or lettuce. And I didn't even make a salad out of it. I just ate it straight up dry. It was delicious, fresh, clean, really good stuff. Didn't even make a salad out of it. That's how little I care about salads. And that's how little everybody should care about salads. Salads are delicious when you're at a restaurant or if you're at your family's house and somebody else makes it for you. Otherwise, I'm not making my own salads. I'm not thinking about it either. So thank you for that call, though. Love you. All right, what else we got here? Let's see the next person on the hotline list.
John, looking through the retention and the recruiting process, thinking outside the box, what if we just go ahead and work with like all the big publishers? Go ahead and just automatically, you sign up for the military, you're automatically getting a book deal. Spinning off of that, what would the title of your book be? Say, Sean.
All right, so this was a follow-up to a question we got on a previous hotline call from, I think it was last week's episode 208, episode 208, when somebody posed a question about the military and recruiting and retention of the military, and I went off a couple of hot takes and tangents about the military, and one of the things I mentioned was how there are some egos in certain units of the military because they're the best units. You get a lot of hotheads and egos in there, like some of the Navy SEALs love to write books and brag about their escapades and stuff like that. So this seems like it was a follow-up to that because I mentioned that, and they're asking now if we should just make everyone a publisher. No. And I don't know if that was supposed to be just a little sarcastic quip or a joke or whatever. But here's the problem. When you're talking about the military in this day and age, and I'm going to caveat, a LPDS caveat, this is my personal opinion, and this is nothing against any of the brothers in arms that I have worked with, I currently work with, any of my friends and family members that are still in the military to this day. This is nothing against you guys whatsoever, and I'm not talking about you. If I am still friends with you, it's because you're top tier. I did not mingle and become friends with anybody else that I didn't even, that I didn't trust or didn't think was a quality person. The military itself right now is becoming a huge joke. Okay, so when you ask these jokey questions, I get nervous because I fear that somebody in the military leadership, the higher up leadership, is going to hear this and take it seriously and then start implementing these stupid joke things into the military. Because as more and more things are changing in the Air Force, Navy, all the branches, the more and more I think it's becoming a huge joke and also a scary joke. Okay. So I appreciate you trying to bring humor into this, but this is no laughing matter. Okay. If you're going to joke with the questions regarding the military, let's make sure nobody else in the military is listening in, because for your sake and for everybody else's sake in the military that I know to be a good person, I'm still friends with and family with, for your sake, we don't want this stuff to come to fruition. We don't want these jokes to become a reality because enough of them have already. And again, that's just my opinion. If you want to come at me for that, come at me for that. This is not the official statement of the military or anything like that at all. I also don't care if you disagree with me because it's an opinion. We're allowed to have different opinions and disagree on that and still be allowed to exist on the same planet. I know it's a crazy concept for some people out there these days, but it is a fact. So that's my opinion. Stop asking questions regarding the military that you think might be jokes, because the joke's going to be on you when this shit becomes real. And now you're sitting next to a bunch of publishers in drag, and you have to go into a foxhole with these people. Okay? It's not going to be me out there. It's going to be them. And they're going to be writing their crazy little books, bragging about how they're all publishers and wearing their proofy, funny, nice little colorful new uniforms that the military approved now. And I just hope you bring your flak jacket with you, pals. So anyway, I know people are going to give me crap for that. Don't care. Don't care at all. Luckily, nobody listens to this, so only a few of you will hear it and give me crap for that. So thank you. All right, moving on to the last call. Let's see what we got here.
All right, turns out your number is in the description, so I have no excuse for my previous lack of calling to talk to you about the show. I will share with the crowd. I think you should add another item to your big three. It should be called the Big Four, and it should be an hour a day of some sort of Nic Cage cinema. Now, you don't have to watch it at one speed. I think two speed will be okay. I just think it should be called the Big Four, and that's what you should do.
All right. Thank you for that call. That individual also, I guess, wants to remain anonymous and identify themselves. I know who this person is. I can recognize that voice. And we talked about the hotline number, if it was in descriptions and what have yous, and it is now. So go check out the hotline, this number in the descriptions if you want to call in for that. But I do like that idea. What I could do though, here's the thing. Regardless of what a lot of people probably think, and that's okay, I spent a lot of time and mental effort coming up with the big three. Okay? And I'm being serious here. When it comes to stuff like this, values and ethics and morals and following some sort of a code, whatever you guys want to call it, I take that crap seriously in my life. So when I came up with the big three, yeah, you can sort of see the evolution of it throughout different episodes of the show until if I was officially announced as the big three. But that's because as I was talking and re-listening to these episodes from early on and seeing like, oh, that's a good thing right there. Let's dive deep into that and figure out what I actually mean by that and all this other stuff. And I spent a lot of time and effort cultivating, ironing out, and polishing up my core values. And the big three is part of my core values. It's part of spearhead leaderships too. Okay, that's how important they are to me, and that's how much I've worked on them in my life to try to be, and when I say worked on them, I meant coming up with them, identifying the importance of each, and then incorporating that into my daily habits. That's how important it is. It is the big three are part of my core values in my personal life, in the LPDS, and in my business life. Okay? It's across the board. So, with that being said, to add a fourth for Nic Cage movies, that is, if we want to make a core value something like respect Nic Cage, you could do that. We could do that, something like that. But watching an hour of Cage content a day is something that can be done and will be done. And I'll start to probably schedule that out a little bit more throughout my weeks now. But I would put it in a different category. And I know you're probably not going to like that answer because you want it as part of the big four, clearly. But it could be part of something. I would make it something different. Part of maybe my success list that I've been posting on social media. I don't know. But I'm never going to say no to the idea of getting more Cage in my life. Not to mention the fact that I am still behind on Cage movies and content. So scheduling this into my daily habits would absolutely help me catch up. And it would probably provide me a lot more facts, a lot more Cage facts, a lot easier. So I'll definitely do it. I'm never going to say no to the idea of more Cage. But there has to be some sort of other way to incorporate Nic Cage into the big three. And it's not through just watching his movies. It has to be something that he believes in that we can also take in to the big three. So that's it. I know that sounds probably crazy that I'm even having this discussion out loud, but and it's also probably sounds a little crazy that I love Nic Cage so much, but not enough to add to the big three and make it a big four. That's how strongly I feel about the big three. And not saying I'm perfect at it by any means, but that's how strongly I feel about the big three, what it stands for, and trying my hardest each and every day to incorporate it and get better at it each and every day. So that should tell you guys something. Anyway, that's all we got for today, folks. Now, I recorded this episode a little earlier in the week because I have one of my brothers is going to be visiting and hanging out with me and the creature. So we're not going to have not going to have time to record over the weekend. So if I miss any big time current events, if Iran decides to strike again or something big like that, that's why it's not mentioned in this episode, because we recorded before it occurred. I will say this, though, not to pat myself on the back or to pat you guys on the back here in the LPDS universe, but look at all the stuff going on right now with this country and the world. Okay? Attacks, fighting, economy stuff. Go back 4 years ago. Okay? And then go back 2 years ago during the Senate and congressional elections. And I promise you there's at least one episode of the LPDS where we talked about the things that will occur this year because it's an election year. Okay? We call it each and every time. And you can call me crazy. You can call everybody else crazy all you want. You can call me crazy all you want. I don't care because we haven't been wrong yet. I wish we were wrong. I wish this crap didn't happen all the time, every election year. But it keeps happening every election year. And I'm patting myself on the back because we called it 4 years ago. We're predicting the future. It's a playbook, folks. It is a playbook. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm crazy for other reasons, but not for this. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Anyway, that's all we got today, folks. Before we go, very quick, the big three, the three pillars to staying strong and being a happier, kinder, healthier, more genuine human being and spreading that goodness and positivity to everybody around you throughout the land. Number one, exercise every day. Do one thing every day to improve your health and fitness physically, mentally, or emotionally. Whether it's an exercise at the gym, a walk after a meal, or a mental exercise of reading a book, doing a crossword puzzle, math problems, whatever, or an emotional exercise, therapy, yoga, meditation, praying, breath work. Do one thing every day to exercise and improve your health and fitness levels physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number two, the hardest one to do, don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. When the opportunity arises to respond negatively, even if the person initiating is also being negative and shitty, detach from your emotional state right then and there. Take the LPDS step back and just remove yourself from the situation altogether. Because by doing that, by not engaging, you're minimizing the shit and negativity in the world and in that situation, and you're providing yourself the space and capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things with your lives. Okay? And I promise you, because I still see it every damn day with people, especially on the internet, on social media, you posting the negative thing or the little gotcha post or the response or whatever, it does nothing positive. It has zero benefit whatsoever. I know you think you're making a point or a statement, but you're doing zero good. I promise you, zero good. Even if you have good intentions, you are missing the mark. It is not working. Zero good. But it's super hard to do. I get it. It's a constant battle inside with me emotionally to not engage with those people and to not be shitty and negative. So I get it. Number three, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. It is easy to forget that. It is easy to forget how good we have it, a lot of us, compared to others. But you can fix that by actively thinking about the good things you have in your lives and thinking about what your lives would be like without those things and how shitty it would be. And that puts you in that state of gratitude. And if you do that exercise, that thought exercise, more and more each and every day, the percentage of your time and brain space is going to be more and more in that state of gratitude than it is on anything else, than it is thinking about soups and salads. And if you do all those three things a little bit each and every day, day in and day out, I promise you guys, you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, more genuine human beings, and you'll be able to spread that goodness and positivity throughout the land. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends and enemies and hit that hotline 202-670-1114. Keep the calls coming. Keep the salad talks coming. Whatever. They suck, but we're going to keep talking about them. Okay? Because people are calling in, and that's what I want. I want people to call in with anything. We'll talk about beans. We'll talk about salads. We'll talk about farts. We'll talk about anything on here, folks. Bring it on. And if you're a little ashamed, don't identify yourself, and we'll keep it anonymous, and that's great too. So call the hotline 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.